What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. My name is Briggs, and I have a question for you. Are you going to do any traveling this summer? Normally, in the non-pandemic days, half of you would say yes. The other half would say, I can't afford it. I have to work. Leave me alone while I eat this sad little salad out of the vending machine. That's exactly how I was for many years. In my 20s, if someone asked me if I was going to do any traveling over the summer, I would say yes, to the grocery store if I can afford it. These days, we're a little limited in our travel options because of the whole pandemic thing. Hopefully it'll be over soon and we can get back to normal. I think when we do get out of this and life somewhat returns to normal, a lot of our tourism will remain in the United States. Or at least I'm sure a good portion of our travelers will stay stateside. I think it's a good thing, helps the economy. The United States has a lot to see. Amazing cities, adorable small towns, national parks, taco trucks, and roadside attractions. It's all there for you. In some states like Hawaii, tourism is a big chunk of the economy. Other states, not so much. Today's video is about those states, the ones that don't get many visitors. And that means not many tourism dollars. Some states see about 50 million visitors a year on average, and as you're about to see, some are nowhere near that. I'm gonna do this video again in the next few years, maybe next year and the following year, just so we can kind of compare how it was post-COVID-19. Okay, let's see part 1 of the top 10 least visited states. Number 10, Oklahoma. The Sooner State only gets exciting during tornado season, a Tulsa resident once told me. She also said that Oklahoma has more rodeos and monster truck shows than should be allowed. So why don't people go to Oklahoma as tourists? Well, when you compare it to other states like Texas and Colorado, it probably seems like you'd run out of things to do on day 2 of a 4-day trip to the state. They really don't have much to do. Now, they do have some sort of fun things, like casinos sprinkled throughout the state. Bricktown in Oklahoma City is kind of cool. It's an entertainment district just east of downtown. I enjoyed the Oklahoma City Zoo. But when you get out of the cities, there isn't much to see, nothing to draw people in, unless you're an open field enthusiast and really like watching people drive tractors. Maybe that's just the way the state wants it. Maybe they don't want people coming in. I'm sure the person that balances the state budget sure would like some more tourist dollars. But it may be getting a little more exciting in the future, at least in Tulsa. Tulsa has a strong healthcare industry and a growing tech sector with data rooms and business service companies, which will draw a younger workforce. Things to do will come to Tulsa with a younger population. Tulsa also throws a solid St. Patrick's Day. It's a good one. It's probably one of the better ones west of Chicago. But as it stands now, the state only sees about 21.9 million visitors a year, and that's according to the state's website. So they do have some things to do, but not really worth going out of your way for. Number 9, Nebraska. Nebraska has a reputation for being one of the most boring states in the country. If you're from the Cornhusker State, it's no surprise to you. From 2014 to 2018, it came in last on the list of states that people are interested in visiting. That's according to a travel research firm called MMGY Global. The state has tried for years to bring people in for a visit. They've hired different advertising firms. All of the attempts really didn't move the needle much. In 2018, they tried a completely new approach, and I'm not joking either. They tried honesty. Yeah, an advertising firm using honesty. It's kind of weird, kind of makes you unsettled. Anyway, they had a slogan that they actually used. Like I said, I'm not joking. This was their slogan. Honestly, it's not for everyone, Nebraska. Yeah, it's not for everyone. That's what they went with. But, you gotta admit, that kind of honesty is refreshing. I wrote them a few slogans they could use in the future. Nebraska, a good place for the visually impaired. Nebraska, a place to be alone. Nebraska is for loafers. Or, my favorite, Nebraska, a good place to read a book. They could use those. Those are just as effective as, honestly, it's not for everyone. Local publications try and push Omaha's music and art scene a lot. All the time. They really put an effort into, getting that out there to people, and it's nice. But is it really something that would be the main event for most tourists? No. Hunters like Nebraska, pheasant hunting is big, and they've got a lot of pheasants, and for that matter, so is bird watchers. In the spring, Nebraska is home to one of the last great migrations on Earth. 600,000 sandhill cranes make their way through the middle of the state, and bird watchers show up for it. But like I said, those are all great, if that's what you're into, but it's not going to bring the money in like a theme park, casino, or some sort of major event would. The annual visitors Nebraska sees is only 20 million a year. That's the whole state. Number 8. Iowa. Remember everything I said about Nebraska? It's worse in Iowa. They never tried honesty as an advertising campaign, which, if you know anyone from Iowa, you'll realize that's right up their alley, and it's kind of strange they never tried it. Iowa's the type of place you'd take a girl out on a date to a cornfield, and she'd be okay with it. Have you ever driven past a farm and, that smell, and you couldn't wait to get past so the smell would go away? That's the whole state. Not many people ever move to Iowa. Usually you're born there, you marry someone from Iowa, or your employer transfers you. The young and ambitious normally escape soon after graduation and don't come back unless it's Christmas or retirement. And that's the good thing about Iowa. It's a cheap place to live. You're better off calling a real estate agent than a travel agent in this state. Now, there's one exciting thing that you should definitely see if you visit Iowa. At Iowa State University Elwood, they have a massive garden gnome that stands as a sentry above the college campus, like daring people to come there. It is the tallest concrete gnome in the world. I gotta tell you, this one is a hoot for like 8 minutes. At the 9th minute, you look at this giant garden gnome and say to your road trip sidekick, how drunk were we when we planned this stop last night? But there's a plus side to the state of Iowa. The people are good, neighborly, and down to earth. And it is refreshing, especially if you're someone like me that grew up in Los Angeles and I meet a bunch of guys from Iowa when I'm in the Army. You're like, holy crap, what's going on with these people? They're not wishy-washy about their conversations. They tell you the truth and everything you want to hear. The sad fact is, Iowa is boring and doesn't have much to entice tourists. I mean, one of the most interesting things and most visited things in Iowa is a field where Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper's plane went down. It's in Clear Lake, and the plane went down February 3rd, 1959. So, yeah. Only 16 million people visit Iowa on average every year. Number 7, West Virginia. This one sort of surprised me. I know West Virginia has gotten a fair amount of ridicule over the years for a lot of different things, and I'm one of the people that has dealt out some of that ridicule. But when you have a governor who drops an F-bomb during a news conference and then tries to blame it on a technical glitch, you have to expect some kind of grief coming from people. Coincidentally, I have that same glitch when I stub my toe or lose a video game. West Virginia doesn't get many visitors, which I understand, and I'm confused by at the same time. I understand it because they don't have any big draws like amusement parks or major league sports teams, things like that. But they do have some of the best landscapes in the country. John Denver wrote a freaking epic song about the place. I mean, come on. Hiking, whitewater rafting, zip lines, one of the best scenic trains in the country, hunting, camping, moonshining, fishing. So many other things I could talk about West Virginia all day. They say West Virginia is almost heaven because of the landscape, not because of the strip clubs. Though the state does boast the most strip clubs per capita than any other state in the union, which I think Oregon actually has more, but I could be wrong. Oregon has more people. I don't know. But I guess strip clubs and landscapes don't really bring in as many people as they want. West Virginia, on average, sees about 15.9 million visitors. That's not a lot. Like I said, that one shocks me. Got a lot of nice places to visit in West Virginia. Number 6, South Dakota. Again, this one caught me off guard. South Dakota isn't the most exciting place, I get that, but it does have some interesting history and beautiful landscapes. I guess that's not enough to bring in people. But if you're a Native American history buff, you probably know this is a great place to visit. They do have the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore, and Deadwood that are worth seeing, but again, doesn't bring in the people like, a water park or something. Maybe that's what South Dakota needs, a giant water slide on Mount Rushmore. They could put it in that blank space between Teddy Roosevelt and Lincoln. I'd ride a slide that whips by Honest Abe's beard. Wouldn't you? Who wouldn't, really? The Badlands are awesome, definitely something you want to see. What's not to love about a state where buffalo can actually cause a traffic jam? And then, in Mitchell, they have the Corn Palace. I often wonder what kind of people are drawn to a place called the Corn Palace. This place is weird. It looks like the Taj Mahal of corn. The state also has less than 1 million residents, so maybe they like it quiet. But on average, South Dakota only sees 14.5 million visitors a year. That's not many. But like I said, if you're not a Native American history buff, it's probably something you want to skip. Alright, so that's the first half of the least visited states. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. I hope you kind of know where not to go this summer, if we can go out anywhere. Anyway, don't forget all the links below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you like what we're doing here. we'll see you on Wednesday or in a couple days for the second part of this video. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.